Hello, soldiers of inebriation. This is Eric, and it's mid to late August, which means only one thing. Everybody is fucking off. Buck has gone to Burning Man, probably to fleece members of the tech industry. Vanessa is somewhere in a giant dirigible shaped like a walrus. Matt Shaw is cleaning his gun collection. Only has one gun. Cleans it thoroughly. Mixmaster Therm has entered a dimension of pure Therm. So we're going to be running a rerun this time around. It is our Ziggy Stardust show, and it was one of our favorites. It was the tribute to David Bowie we did back when Mr. Bowie passed away in 2016. We had with us Andy Hermann, music editor of the LA Weekly, and a cocktail called the Ziggy Stardust, created in Bowie's honor. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the Ziggy Stardust show. By the way, Patreon people, you're not going to get dinged for this. It's a rerun, so double good for you. The rest of you, go to patreon.com/armyofdrunks. Seriously, it's super easy, and hey, you know, we do our all for you. So, okay, the music's going to run out. Here's the show. Remember, the Army of Drunks contains inebriated people talking about horrible things. Please listen responsibly.
Chortle Hole in the Citadel Outlet Mall. It's the Army of Drunks Talking Funny Radio Podcast with your hosts, Sport, Matt Shaw, Shaft, Buck Down, and Mixmaster Therm. And now, let's get ready to mumble.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome back, guys.
Here we are at the Chortle Hole, Matt's old stomping ground.
Yeah. He used to do a set a night there at the Chortle Hole.
Hasn't changed a bit.
The Chortle Hole.
Some of them, the Inland Empire's biggest comics have been through here.
At the...
Bigger than the Chuckle Bunker.
Yeah.
They knocked Chuckle Bunker out of first place.
Comedy club / strip club. It's
Freddie
awesome.
Prinz III has been through here. Gallagher 4 has been through. A lot of history.
Gallagher 4, The Awakening.
Yeah. And we are drinking tonight a drink called the Ziggy Stardust, which is as young as 2009. So it's not got an illustrious history, but we are doing it in honor of the passing of David Bowie.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. If
Bowie dies.
Yeah.
That happened.
David Bowie dies at the end of The Force Awakens. So we're going to get drunk on the Ziggy Stardust, and with us to
Which has
talk
got to
about
be the most complicated drink I think we've made.
I mean,
that not complicated to make, but in
complicated
flavor.
in flavor.
Complicated flavor. I think this is the first one that actually requires fire. Mm-hmm. Did we light anything on fire before this?
No.
On purpose. Not on purpose.
No.
Very important to make that distinction.
And with us to discuss Bowie, his legacy, and the Bowie-shaped hole in everyone's hearts right now is LA Weekly music editor Andy Hermann.
Happy to be here.
Who? How you doing, Andy?
I'm doing well. I'm already starting to get a nice buzz off the Ziggy Stardust.
It's purple.
It's purple. It's good. Yeah, and
It looks a lot actually like purple Kool-Aid.
yeah.
It's more cobalt, I think.
More
It's
cobalt?
got a little blue hint to it.
It perfectly matches the stems of the glasses, which was a remarkable touch on your part.
Oh, thank you.
That
We
was
engineered
on
that
purpose.
since back when Bowie was alive.
Yeah.
And that's so you don't know where the drink ends and you
This
begin.
was it. Yeah, these were all in a box that were marked in case Bowie dies, break glass.
Okay, yeah.
And-
By the end of my second one, I'm going to start eating the glass, I think.
This I'll just kind of talk about the drink. I was going to talk a little about Bowie, but let's talk about the drink. This thing is called the Ziggy Stardust. Now, if you go on the internet, and you look for
Where all truth lies.
indeed, and you go looking for Bowie cocktails, this is one that comes up. And
You just get stories.
yeah, I remember when I had a cocktail with David Bowie outside the Club Foot in 1972. He vomited
love
all
the
over my
Club
groin. No, here's the deal. So
Is there really Club Foot?
there was, yeah.
Was the place called Club Foot?
I think there was a Club Foot in New York.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so good.
Isn't it? It's not too late to start our own. What the fuck was I talking about? Stardust. Okay, so
I
here's
knocked
the
you
deal.
off the game in the first sentence, dude.
Dude.
Come on, man.
I don't get. I'm despondent. Way to step on my pain, bitch. Okay, so the Ziggy Stardust is 4 parts vodka, 1 part violet liqueur, a dash of orange bitters or 2, half a part of Goldschlager. I know, Goldschlager. But, and then some ground cinnamon. And here's what you do, is you put the vodka and the violet and the bitters in a shaker, you shake it up, you pour it into the glass, and then in a separate little shot glass, you pour out your Goldschlager. Make sure you get some gold in there, because otherwise...
Yeah, I got more Schlager than gold.
Otherwise it's just cinnamon
My
liqueur.
Schlager to gold ratio is fucked right now.
Oh, when I bought it, there's not
Somebody's
a lot of
probably
gold.
filtered it through.
They're skimping on the gold.
Kevin, are you storing gold?
Somebody's skimming
Like,
gold out
for the collapse of society when we go back to just like...
Hey, for the people at home, Kevin is our tiny audience today.
Yeah.
The tiny audience today is our friend
Welcome,
Kevin. Hi,
Kevin.
Kevin.
Sorry.
Anyway, so you take the Schlager, see?
So,
You put it in a shot glass, you light it on fire, and then you sprinkle some cinnamon over it, and it sparkles like the night.
Yeah.
And
Or
you
like
pour-
Bowie himself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that's right.
sparkles like Bowie.
It's a showy ass drink to make.
It
is.
is.
Sure.
Yeah, it had some flair.
And then you pour it in, and it's complex. It's delicious and complicated.
It's all over the place.
Much like Bowie
taste-wise.
himself.
Yeah.
Because it's got the cinnamon, it's got the orange, it's got the violet, and then it's got a whole fistful of vodka to punch you in the back of your brain.
conflicted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very conflicted drink. It
Yeah.
doesn't know what it wants to be.
Well, maybe it's just comfortable with its own complications.
Sure.
Yeah, like, the Low album. But, so here's the deal. So the question is, where the fuck did this come from? Because I went on the internet and this was everywhere. No, I take it back. There was another version of the Ziggy Stardust
The
cocktail.
disputed origin story.
Yeah, which of every fucking drink
It's not
we
a
do.
real cocktail until there's a disputed origin story.
Yeah, there's not a lot of dispute, but what there is a dispute of what the other Ziggy Stardust cocktail is. And this was on Flavor Wire. The other one was on Flavor Wire. This I found on Dangerous Minds. But the one on Flavor Wire had this lovely little drawing of like the red and blue, like the slash on his face, the lightning bolt. And it was meant to simulate the lightning bolt. And here's what was in it. 2 ounces of fruit punch, 1 ounce of vodka, and 1 ounce of blue curacao. Now, here's what's wrong with this. Number one...
Everything you just said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Number one, the only person who's going to drink that is somebody in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone over the age of 16 won't
Yeah.
touch that thing.
No.
It's awful.
You had me at Dangerous Minds. I mean,
Yeah.
Dangerous Minds beats Flavor Wire 8
Every
ways
time.
to Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the rock, paper, scissors game that is the
Yes.
internet.
If I'm going to get drunk off either of those websites, it's going to be Dangerous Minds every time.
The other shitty thing about that Bowie Ziggy Stardust cocktail is that the red and the blue lightning bolt is Aladdin Sane. It's not
Yeah.
Ziggy Stardust. So already...
dick.
Yeah, fuck
You, Flavor Wire.
Yeah.
Flavor Wire.
I wish Flavor Wire was here so I could punch him in his face.
Yeah. That's his real name.
We'll
Yeah.
get our
Now,
chance.
were there other Bowie cocktails with other names? Was
Well,
there like
there
a
were.
Moon Age Daydream or a Goblin King or anything like
Well,
that?
there was a Goblin King on Flavor Wire, but after I saw the Ziggy Stardust, I decided Flavor Wire could suck it.
Well, I remember like in the emails going up to the show, it was down to like 2.
There was a Diamond Dog.
There's a Diamond Dog,
Now, the
and
Diamond
I didn't
Dog-
even read the Diamond Dog because as soon as I saw fire in the ingredients,
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, stop there.
Yeah.
Unless, like there's a forklift or something involved in making the other drink.
Yeah, unless there's actual diamonds that
Yeah.
can then pass through your stool.
See, I would have just cowered away from the Goldschlager element. That part is.
This has made me face
iffy.
my fear of Goldschlager, this drink.
Yeah.
And because nothing good comes from Goldschlager.
I didn't see anything but fire. Like we could be just drinking dog urine right now, but we lit it on fire, so that's
So the
cool.
Diamond Dog
Fire is
cocktail,
cool.
though, is actually served in the George V Hotel in Paris, France, according to the internet.
Well, that would be very complicated if we had to do
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
That's a pricey show.
And that's equal parts sweet Campari, vermouth, roses lime juice, and fresh squeezed orange juice. So you can see why I went with the Ziggy Stardust.
Campari sucks.
Campari sucks.
Yes,
sir.
fuck Campari.
And vermouth is always a one-way ticket to a hangover.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I was trying to figure out where
Campari
the-
is a ruiner of drinks.
It really is, actually. I'm glad someone agrees with me on
Yeah.
that.
So let me tell you though where this thing actually came from, because you go on the internet and everyone quotes this drink now, the Ziggy Stardust, but even Dangerous Minds quotes everything, like points back to Dangerous Minds, but Dangerous Minds didn't originate. It originated in an issue of a magazine called Lemon magazine.
Lemon?
Lemon Magazine.
Party?
Yeah, Lemon Party Magazine, which is elderly gay orgy magazine.
Leave a couple copies of that on the coffee
If you've,
table, like when
actually-
people come over.
Yeah, if our listeners haven't heard of Lemon Party Magazine, just go ahead and Google it.
Yeah, you know what? There's a really
Just
great video
Google,
on YouTube.
Google image. Lemon
You'll
Party.
find it.
Yeah, you can go straight to YouTube. I mean, Lemon Party. They got a great promotional video for Lemon Party.
And by the way, let's
sure do.
let's all hope that that's how Bowie actually went out. A nice lemon party.
I guess he was old enough. Isn't technically... No. I guess technically
that's
sex
better
with
than
David
cancer.
Bowie...
Would be kind of a lemon party.
I guess you just need one older guy. I mean...
Yeah.
What's the cutoff line?
Yeah. What
For
is
a
the
lemon
cutoff?
party?
Wait, okay,
I
so...
would say 70.
Oh, so maybe not.
so
Maybe he wasn't quite
69
there
He
yet.
didn't
Two
make it.
69-year-old dudes, not a lemon party.
Two? You need at least three dudes. And
Three
they,
dudes,
And
okay.
they need to be, on average, the average age of them needs to be over 70.
Over 70.
I think so. I think it's got to be over 70.
I had no idea. It
If
was
you have
so
a guy who's
technical.
69 and another guy who's like 82, it kind of, you can sort of grandfather
No.
the
That takes
69 in.
it
Yeah,
up.
so
Yeah.
so it's an average.
Yeah,
average.
It's average.
So
One
you can
who's
have
20 and one who's 180.
you can have like one guy that's 100
Yeah,
and another guy that's like
everybody else.
like 50. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And he just has to sit there.
yeah. He just has to sit there. It's all cool.
He's just be involved. You know?
So I mean, that's better than cancer.
So
I
now
like
in
to
my
think
head,
that.
I'm trying to do the math at like what the youngest person in a lemon party could conceivably be.
Oh,
Still be a lemon party.
I think you'd qualify, Buck.
Yeah, you're old
so don't
enough
worry.
At 45.
You know how many guys in their
like,
80s do you know? Well, we're not that far from an old folks' home.
No.
There are a lot of them in Glendale.
Oh yeah, no. Old people run freely in the streets of Los Angeles.
Old people
they're
run.
plentiful. Yeah. Shuffle.
Yeah.
Hey man, do you lemon party?
Yeah. So okay. So Lemon Magazine, that was like one of these art rags, like probably like Vice, but not as cool. And it had a whole. Actually, is Vice even cool? I don't even know anymore.
It's. I guess so.
Okay. Let's
Yeah,
just
I guess
I
so.
think-
Anyway,
I
let's
think
just
Vice
take
is
it
so
as
cool.
read. We'll take it under the assumption that Vice is cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So in 2009, in their Bowie-centric issue called Heroes, issue number 4, mixologist Cliff Travers, who has no presence on the internet apart from commenting on a few booze sites, proposed this drink. So this is the youngest drink we've ever drunk on the show, too. Usually we don't go anything like that came after
Yeah, no,
1950.
we like the history.
Yeah.
Typically, but
Well, there is no history.
no.
we
this-
like lemon party eligible drinks.
Yeah.
We tried to get away from it. We were. Did you feel it? We were moving away, and then now
Snapped right back.
You
Snapped
can't
right
escape
back.
the lemon party vortex.
It's
Let's
kind of
face it.
amazing that it took until 2009 for someone to name a good drink after Bowie. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but it's like naming stuff after celebrities like is a dicey affair if it's not
For a
a
drink.
sandwich.
What's
in a
another
deli.
drink
Yeah, I guess
named
that's
after a
true.
celebrity?
I bet if you go to a Margaritaville,
Rob Roy?
there is a. There's got to be a Jimmy Buffett song named "Drink" in Margaritaville. Maybe it's because
Yeah.
Bowie never had a restaurant
Right.
chain.
So, I was gonna say something I don't even remember. So that's the David Bowie drink, and it's really good. I mean,
delicious.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's delicious, and it's very boozy.
It'd
and
probably be really expensive at a bar. This tastes like one of those like
They could charge $14 for this.
Yeah.
$15.
But you could make it at home for pennies on the dollar. So Vanessa is back after being away.
Yay!
And not for you people, but for us. She was in Cuba for 2.5 weeks. So before we get deep into Bowie, we have a little segment, Vanessa's. I don't even have a name of it.
Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah.
Vanessa's getting drunk in Cuba, and there's a theme for it too.
Viva México, viva América, oh tierra bendita de Dios.
A Mexican theme song is fine for Cuba.
Okay, sure.
They all speak the same language, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
They're all the same.
Vanessa,
Yeah,
you went to Cuba. What'd you do that for?
I did. We went just to go, but also because as the restrictions relax between the U.S. and Cuba, we were like, we want to get there before the floodgates open.
And we ruin it.
And we totally fucking ruined Cuba.
Yeah.
So we wanted to go there before,
Worse
you know.
than any sanction.
Yes,
50 years of sanctions will not be as bad.
exactly. So it's like we want to get there before the Hooters and the Senor Frogs and the, you know,
Wahoo's Tacos.
yeah,
and-
an Outback Steakhouse, Cuba style. Get
Basically
there.
before it becomes Cabo.
So yeah, so
did it suck?
So we went. No, it didn't suck at all. I was expecting it. I wasn't actually sure what to expect because my mom went like a month prior and hated it.
Mm-hmm.
She said it was as bad as Haiti. That was her direct quote.
Where does your mom go on vacation?
Just those 2 trips, Haiti and Cuba.
Haiti, Cuba, and Somalia. She's saving up for Somalia.
Yeah. So we went to Cuba, and it was great. It was almost like 2.5 weeks. We went to numerous cities.
But the real question is, how's the booze in Cuba?
The booze in Cuba, everyone drinks rum. That's the thing.
That's their thing.
That is the thing. You can order you can order a vodka drink, a screwdriver. That's the alternate thing that you can drink that's not rum, or you can order a gin and tonic. Those are the only 2 things that aren't rum related that you can order in Cuba. Everything else is rum. And
they're
generally speaking, it is mojitos.
Really?
So mojitos are the drink you can get anywhere at any little shack anywhere. Mojitos
They got them at the 7-Eleven.
Or that they do.
Like people on the street, old women on the street,
old
you
women
walk
on the
up
street,
to
you
them
say,
and
"Give me a mojito," and
They're
they
just
will
muddling mojitos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
You hand them a Cuban peso or whatever. What's
Yeah.
the thing?
Well, there's a
the
kook.
drachmar.
There's
you
a-
hand them a drachmar, and they
Sure.
just shit out a mojito for you.
Yeah, and what's funny is, despite this, I think being complicated in that you have to add sugar and you have to muddle your mint. Like it is
muddle your mint.
It is the cheapest, most available drink. So at a bar, like they'll have all these drink options. All rum-based things, and then the mojito is always like the cheapest thing, and they always have glasses lined up with all the mint, and they're muddling the mint in all the
I remember
glasses.
when we did the
with
mojito show, it was like a soup. We couldn't get drunk because it was such a time and pain in the ass intensive
Yeah,
drink
we
to
didn't
make.
put enough
No,
booze
they
in our
they
things.
have it down to a science where they're just muddling and pouring, and they just have lines of them in a bar, and basically they expect everyone to order mojitos.
Yeah, that's the curse of communism. When all your needs are met, but very minimally, like
Yeah.
all the time left is just muddling. That's all you have time to do afterwards.
And they like standing in line too. And that's
Yeah.
maybe that's a part
no,
of
they
it.
love that.
Everyone's
yeah.
got a muddler with
Yeah.
them at all times.
Yeah.
It's just
Wait, what was
It's required.
the muddler? The worst Batman
the
villain
shittiest
ever?
Batman villain ever. Yeah.
The muddler.
So, did you get you have a lot of stories of getting loaded in foreign
Well,
cities. Did you?
Give us a slice
what
of
happened?
life, or
Well, I actually,
happened?
for the most part, I didn't. I drank every day. I did.
good.
But,
Good. You were on vacation.
Yeah,
You're
I was
supposed
on
to.
vacation. Yep. But I didn't get totally blasted most of the time. But
Well, then we have no segment. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Vanessa's.
true.
Here we go. Viva Mexico. Viva Mexico. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
there were a couple times when we did drink a little more than just a little bit, and one of them was actually on New Year's.
Oh yeah.
Do they celebrate New Year's in
So-
Cuba?
Oh, there's
So-
no count time in Cuba.
No, so this
Yeah.
is something that I like. So we were told by many that New Year's is a great place to be in Havana. Like
Right.
New Year's in Cuba is like a big deal. And so we were like, yeah, we're going for New Year's. It's gonna be fucking awesome. And so like we showed up at this guy's like casa. There's the way.
Wait, this guy's casa?
Yeah.
Did you know this guy?
No. The way things work in Cuba when you stay there is you stay in people's houses.
Oh, for fuck's
And-
sake.
They don't have hotels.
They have hotels, but they're
It's
shitty.
communism.
They're shitty. You want to stay in people's houses.
Okay.
So we were staying in an apartment that this guy had outfitted. It's not his, it is his, but he wasn't living there. It was like one of the few places where we didn't have people living with us. But
Cuba sucks.
but no, it's great actually.
Okay.
But he was awesome, and basically he came up and told us all about. He knew we were new, so he told us all about Cuba and was just like, "Here's what we make, and here's how much you should be paying." And then he was like, "And then New Year's is like a family thing, so everybody stays in with all of their friends and family." And
Oh.
and so we were just like, oh, like. We were expecting big parties on the
Right.
street and just crazy all out, just
People
insanity.
fighting.
Yeah.
But it turns
Like a
out
communist, like Mardi Gras in New Orleans,
Yeah.
like trash fires and like fire and like throwing beads at women exposing
exactly.
their breasts.
Yeah, I was
and-
so
yeah.
prepared to show my breasts, But the streets on New Year's are empty, and except for the tourists. The tourists are the ones that are like, yeah,
Standing around like,
Cuba,
where is
New
everyone?
Year's,
What the fuck?
They're going to bars, and so
Do they actually do that? Do they walk around yelling Cuba New Year's?
No, they try to find a bar or a nightclub that's open, and then anyone who's in there is either a tourist or a prostitute. So we were pretty upset about this, but our host actually arranged for a party for us, and he so he had invited like us and a bunch of other folks that he had met, and then he tells us, he's like, yeah, the Cuban tradition
is to kill an American.
Yes. So one of you's gotta go, you know?
Yeah. So the good news is you get a 5-minute head start, and then we hunt you around the streets of Havana.
Like the deadliest cat.
The deadliest prey.
And it's awesome.
But at least you've had some delicious pig before you go.
That's good.
So like we're actually having a lovely time, but then our host tells us that the tradition for Cubans on New Year's is at 12 when it hits New Year's is everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people start throwing water off of their porches and eggs. And they do this.
By the way, I love that foreign traditions are so impenetrable and random. There's probably some tradition that dates back to like 1604 that makes complete sense. Oh yeah, well, you know, of course, like the first person to visit Cuba, the Westerner, when he brought eggs to Cuba and then the scare off the water spirit. But I love that this makes no sense at all.
I'm wondering if this guy was, if he was just making this shit up.
Well, no, and this is how I know that it's not made up. So we heard this, and it was like, oh, well then at midnight, maybe we should don helmets and snorkel gear and run through the streets of Cuba. So we immediately
Finally, the story gets interesting.
We immediately ran upstairs, and we found colanders and bowls and whatever we could wear as headwear. And I put on a poncho, and I had a scuba mask.
You know,
and snorkel.
If it took you going to Cuba to put on a poncho, it was all worth it.
And
I've been visiting you in a poncho for years, Spork. Oh yeah, poncho. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So we actually there was a brief moment of like, wow, this is a really bad idea because you can't even drink the water there, you know.
No wonder they're dumping it off.
And I have literally seen people throw bags of actual shit off of their
Like
balcony into the gutter below. Like I witnessed this because we had already been there for a few days, and I knew, I'm like, wow, so we could be running.
So it's just hurling feces like chips out the window.
Like we don't know what this water is. Like maybe it's dirty, you know, toilet water. We don't know, and like the eggs, maybe they're old eggs.
You're gonna get cholera this way.
You're not gonna you're not gonna throw a good egg. I mean, if you
I
have a
wouldn't
choice,
think.
that's not the ones you bought today.
But
No.
but yeah, so we donned our armor and we
New Year's armor, traditional
And,
Cuban
yeah.
New Year's armor.
And everybody got pink eye. I'm sorry to skip to the end of your story, but
That explains
Wrap
the.
it up.
so we at midnight we ran out into the streets and basically
Do you have any pictures of this?
Well, what I have a picture of is
We should put this on the website.
Yeah, there are pictures of us after we started running through the streets because everyone's like, "What the fuck are these crazy Americans doing?" But then
They didn't know you were American.
realized-
You should have told everyone you were Spanish.
Oh no, they knew
Yeah.
they were American.
That's
No.
true.
As soon as you put a colander on your head in a foreign country.
They realized when they saw the scuba gear and the ponchos, they're like, "Oh,
Wait, back up. You had scuba gear?
oh no, sorry, snorkel.
Snorkel.
Yeah,
God damn.
yeah.
We are the greatest nation on earth, aren't we? I can't tell you the pride I'm feeling right now, actually. A genuine pride.
USA.
Ambassador Spork, thanks for heading over there for us.
Hey, no problem. We're starting a new tradition, and that's what we're doing.
I like to think that like your hosts either booted you out as soon as they could the next morning or like saluted you as you left their home.
He thought we were completely insane.
Well,
I
you
mean,
are.
He could
we all
not. He could not
do.
believe that we were
The
actually
colander
going to
on the
do
head
that.
and the snorkel was probably the tell.
Now, was it?
Well, I have to say that's a great story, and the best part of that story for me is that now in Cuba, there's at least one guy who owns an apartment who thinks that the people with the largest nuclear arsenal on the planet
Like everybody is
are the same people who will run through the streets with colanders on their heads and snorkel gear
Are actually
just to get hit
insane.
by raw eggs. And now here's the theme song.
Viva América, oh tierra bendita de Dios.
And that was Sport Gets Drunk in Cuba, a recurring segment here on Army of Drunks.
You just repurposed my racist
Yeah,
facts
that's what
about
she's going to
foreign
say.
lands.
This is
theme music.
back in. We used to
It
have
took
a
me this long to
bit.
figure that out.
Yeah, I think it occurred to me the exact same time it occurred to you because I was just like, wait a minute, we used to do a bit.
We're all about recycling. We're green here at the podcast.
Yeah.
We're all about
Yeah.
recycling.
So when we used to do this as a live internet show, we had a bit called Matt Shaw's racist fun facts about foreign
No, it
lands.
was racist facts about foreign
facts
lands.
I thought it was
Foreign
fun facts.
No, it was definitely racist facts about
It was just
foreign
racist facts. about
You
something about-
just consider them fun.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have wasted a segment listening to the Army of Drunks, and I hope you're drinking at home because otherwise you're drinking in the car. So we're gonna take a break.
Got a
and then
road soda.
We're gonna get another round. These are okay. These are yeah.
So
There's gonna be a fire.
Hey,
there
hang
before
on.
we
Here's
done.
some fake ads. This is the Army of Drunks Talking Radio Funny Podcast Experience.
We'll be back at you in a minute.
Therm has just figured out that you can't set metal on fire.
Treat your family and your friends to a taste of days gone by. Serve Mogan David, Mogan David, Mogan David wine. It's the home sweet home wine like Grandma used to make. Serve Mogan David, Mogan David, Mogan David wine.
One of the many modern ways to enjoy the taste of the good old days is in a Longfellow. Pour a tall glass half full of ginger ale or sparkling water. Top off with ruby red Mogan David. A breeze to prepare Mogan David over the rocks. For parties, delicious Mogan David fruit punch. So many people enjoy the deeply satisfying flavor of Mogan David. So many ways, it's the most popular Concord grape wine in the world. Try Mogan David in your home soon.
It's the home sweet home wine like Grandma used to make. Serve Mogan David, Mogan David, Mogan David wine.
Okay, we're back.
I'll let yeah.
We are back. We're drinking a cocktail called the Ziggy Stardust, and we have with us music editor from the Los Angeles Weekly publication, Andy Hermann. Hi, Andy.
Hello.
I can't see your face because Buck's hat's in the way, but that's okay. So we're talking about Bowie, and we're all kind of sad that Bowie left, and we're going to try not to make this a real fucking downer for all of you drinking in your cars right now, because we don't want you to just decide to yank the wheel
The
to the
comedy
left.
goldmine that is celebrity death.
I don't know that at all.
that's-
Andy, so
So,
at the Weekly, it must have been like a big day when Bowie died.
Yes.
As the music editor.
yeah, it was actually funny because it was Sunday night, like right after the Golden Globes had ended. And I got a text from one of my writers, like, I think Bowie just died.
I think.
And
I think
yeah,
Bowie just
and
died. I'm here with him now.
He's
and
not responsive.
and my usual response to those is sort of like, yeah, right. Like I'm
Right.
gonna, because there are often. I mean, this happened with Lemmy. Like when Lemmy first died, when you Googled
First time he died.
well, no,
Yeah.
When Lemmy died, when you Googled, Lemmy
Yeah.
Kilmister death, like the first results you got were all these sort of like fake announcements of him having died like months previous.
Several times, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
and so-
1994.
Exactly.
yeah.
So it was kind of like, well, I don't know if I'm really believing this. But with the Bowie thing, I mean, it actually was fairly quickly. Like his son Duncan Jones, is that his name? Announced it, and it came out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was huge news and took up most of the past week of my life and.
And yes.
But I mean, it not without reason. I mean, he's one of the most. You could make the case that he's sort of the biggest solo artist in rock and roll maybe ever. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
I
had
was-
a huge impact.
like when Bowie died. I mean, we'll talk about Bowie in a second. But as
Elvis?
what?
Elvis.
What is, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Maybe Elvis, then Bowie. And what I think was really cool about him was sort of that his career went through so many different phases, and that he was sort of always able to do it in a way that still felt not authentic exactly, because he wasn't really an authentic guy. I mean,
Right.
he himself, when he came up with Ziggy Stardust, compared it to the Monkees and was like, the Monkees are plastic, but my star is even more plastic. And,
Right.
but it was always him. Like he just had his own his own aesthetic and his own shtick, and no matter how many different iterations he went through that, it was still somehow always originally Bowie.
Right.
And that was sort of...
It's true. There is a pretty consistent through line.
Yeah.
Like if you go, and I think it's the method that he did music. I think it's the
What do you mean?
You know, every time I remember hearing a new Bowie record, you know, throughout the course of my life, my first reaction is, this is from the future. You know, like this is 5 years ahead of everybody else. What makes Bowie unique is, like, you look at a lot of people that have 40-year careers in rock and roll, 30 of those years are pretty much rehash most of the time. Like, if Keith Richards died tomorrow, you know, it'd be like, yeah, we saw that coming, but Keith Richards hasn't done any, or the Stones, for example, haven't done anything groundbreaking or new or anything other than their greatest hits for maybe the 80s.
It's
maybe
consistently good,
yeah,
but not a
Tattoo
whole,
You
not a
maybe
whole lot of
is
big
the end
course
of the line
changes.
for them. Whereas with Bowie, it was almost like when John Lennon died. This is the closest parallel I can do, and for the reason that either one of those guys potentially hadn't made their greatest record yet. Like, at the time they went out, they were still putting out incredibly, like, forward, relevant, hip stuff. Like, you know,
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
super hard to do for just 2 records.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's super hard to make cool shit for more than even 2 records.
Yeah.
You know, to do it for 40 years and consistently, like, almost no one's done that.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that's really amazing to me about Bowie is that not only did he put out a great record when he knew he was dying,
Yeah.
and if our listeners haven't heard Black Star
is
yet,
amazing.
like,
No,
go
blow
out,
your head right off your shoulders.
yeah, get a copy of Black Star. It's fucking incredible. I don't know if I'm allowed to say fucking on the
No.
show,
Oh,
but
yeah,
it's
a podcast. There's no censors.
it's
Yeah.
but it's there
No
is
one's listening.
there is no,
No,
there,
that's not-
there is no other adjective. It's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
You know, and for anyone to do that at that stage of their career is unusual. For anyone to do it at that stage of their career, knowing that it was probably going to be their last
Right.
record, is really incredible.
Yeah, he contracted cancer, was diagnosed with cancer 18 months before
Yeah.
his death. And
Yeah.
to as an artist, to have that kind of lead time to craft what is basically knowingly your final statement
Right.
Yeah.
is something very few artists have the opportunity to do.
Right.
And what's interesting about Bowie, too, is the tension in his work between both his private self and his idea of public persona. And just, he's not a guy who ever shied away from the inherent contradiction of being a human being. And it feels like that Black Star is almost this, like, he has the opportunity to make a final statement, not just of, like, humanity, but of his own fucking life. And that, which ultimately all Bowie's shit is about him, but it also is something that we as other... I'm drunk. But, you know what I'm saying?
No, you got me. I'm with
Well,
you. Yeah.
And I'm totally with you too. And one of my favorite things about Bowie, and one of his biggest legacies, I think, as just a musician, not even like a rock guy, but just making music in general, is I sort of feel like, you know, he got you know, how to sort of use the theatricality of being a music performer as kind of a way to sort of get at, like, more universal truths. And I can't believe I'm waxing this poetic on a show about getting drunk on a podcast.
Well, you know,
but,
you
but,
only wax this poetic when you're drunk, and then
But-
the next morning you're like, was I that fucking pretentious? Fuck me.
But you know, but I really do think that you know, on the he was in a way kind of like one of the most aloof rock stars we've ever had. I mean, I feel like, you know, like we never really got to know the actual David Bowie.
It's true.
Like, that was sort of a very conscious sort of distance that he kept between, like, his real self and his sort of personas that he had on stage. But through those personas, he projected just so much humanity.
Well, and that's...
And that, I think, is just like a really cool trick to pull off. And I feel like a lot of and sort of, you know, when he died, I was kind of thinking about, you know, I mean, I was a David Bowie fan. I never felt like I was like, I'm the craziest David Bowie fan that ever was. But I mean, I saw him twice live, and you know, I really became a crazy fan of him actually in the late '80s when one of my high school friends introduced me to like his really obscure sort of like pre-Space Oddity stuff.
Yeah,
which
some
is
of that's
amazing.
weird.
It's so great
so
and so
childlike,
weird.
too.
Are we gonna buy Laughing Gnome now?
Laughing Gnome.
time?
If this would be a good place to cut to Laughing Gnome.
All right, we're gonna cut to Laughing Gnome like for about 10 seconds, so
There
we
you
don't
go.
get sued.
I was walking down the high street when I heard footsteps behind me, and there was a little old man in scarlet and grey.
We're back. None of us having actually heard Laughing Gnome, but you at home did.
I heard it in my head.
But yeah, so I think when I really started to become a hardcore fan of him was when I heard this sort of weird early shit that he was doing, and you know, and when he died, I sort of, you know, like every music journalist in the world, I sort of attempted to write this kind of why David Bowie mattered piece.
Right.
Which I wound up not writing and I'm glad because there
Yeah, it's not something that needs an explanation.
and there are a million. I mean, you know, there's some other great. Ann Powers wrote a really great thing on NPR about her sort of Bowie fandom, and you know, there's other good things. I wrote like this sort of retarded list, you know, listicle, as we say in the journo biz. There was, I think I called it 10 Reasons Why Bowie Was Our Weirdest Rock Star.
Let's face it, if there's no clickbait, there's no listicle.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And that's the burden that the LA
First,
Weekly
they
must
came
have.
for the clickbait.
And I said nothing because I was not listicle.
I went trolling hard for the clickbait. But I really do think that he was our weirdest rock star, and I think that was part of what was so great about him was that he was really good at sort of making music that was poppy and accessible,
Right.
but also really weird. I mean, even at the peak of his popularity, like one of his biggest hits has the lyric in it, "Visions of swastikas in my head." Like, who else could get away with that? You know?
Yeah, he had
And
that
I-
weird, like,
I love that about
weird
him.
Nazi bit, like, I guess it was the Berlin years.
Yeah,
Well, he had the Berlin years, but then also, like, you know, on Let's Dance, he had the song China Girl.
Yeah.
Which he wrote, but was originally, I'm drunk, so I could be totally getting this wrong, but I believe.
Oh, we are all about talking out of your ass on
He
this show.
he wrote, but was originally performed by Iggy Pop. But he sort of did like a more poppy version of it for the Let's Dance album, and it was a huge hit. And it's a weird song. Like you listen to that song, and there's some like.
Well, it's uncomfortable,
And it's
but it comes from
a
Bowie,
little
so you know
and
it's
a little
knowing.
and a little bit racist. Let's be honest. Like you know, it's sort of fetishizing an Asian chick in a way that's
Remarkably
racist.
common to white men.
Yeah, exactly.
What we know we're not supposed to do now.
Yeah. But that's this thing about him is like he would always stick his hands or face or whatever into like really awkward and uncomfortable stuff, but do it knowingly, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and that's I feel like, you know, he was really self-aware about all this stuff. I mean, I feel like, you know, he was really, in fact, I mean, Henry Rollins, who writes for LA Weekly, plug Henry Rollins' column on laweekly.com.
Yeah, I read
But,
that.
click there right now.
But
That's
What
actually
about him?
Rollins Bowie piece is really good. By the
yeah,
way.
it's
Look that up.
fantastic. But Rollins' whole take on sort of Bowie's career throughout the 80s, which I think maybe have some validity to it, is that it was all kind of a giant put on.
Really?
That Bowie was like, you know what, I'm going to be a pop star just to mess with people's expectations of what I'm supposed to do.
Which I think is something that actually he did through the whole run. I think what's interesting, like, it's very hard to be, like, to create a big rock star character. Like, you almost nobody can do anymore what they did. Like, if you look at him and Freddie Mercury, for example,
Right.
like, are amazing rock stars because they create this very, like, a character that is the rock star. You know, that all the cliches now that we know and love about rock stars are all cliches. So if you did it now, you'd just be doing a cliche. Like, I think that's what's fascinating about him is he created a rock star character, just like Mercury created a rock star character. It was a little less intentional on Freddie Mercury's part, but Bowie was like, here's your character, here's your Ziggy Stardust character, and it moves and morphs, and you know, you look at how, like, Madonna totally ripped off that notion.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? And then you can even see that watered down to like Miley Cyrus now. You know, like this idea of creating this character that changes and changes and changes.
Yeah, I think that's right. Here's why, you know, I think you started out the segment by like, you know, why does David Bowie matter or something like that. I mean, to me, it's like here's why he matters. I sort of feel like the two figures in that era, like late '60s, early '70s of rock music, you know, who sort of convinced the rest of the world that rock music should actually be taken seriously, not just as like pop music, but as an art form. Or, you know, Bob Dylan through his songwriting and David Bowie through his theatricality. I mean, I sort of feel like both of them kind of, in their own ways, like kind of elevated rock and roll above, you know, what, you know, people like, you know, Elvis Presley had done before. Yeah, or like Louie, you know, sort of, it's, you know, I mean, yes, it's pop music. Yes, it can be catchy. Yes, it can be sort of teeny bopper music. But there can also be like an artistic element to it. There can also be, and the Beatles too. I mean, with albums like Sgt. Pepper and the White Album. But, you know, but Bowie's sort of theatrical presentation of it was kind of the foundation for what has since come to be known as quote unquote art rock. You know, that sort of everything that's been called art rock since sort of hunky dory Ziggy Stardust Bowie owes a debt to that sort of highly theatrical sort of arty presentation of it. Yeah, and then the music itself too, not just the presentation. I mean, a lot of his songs were in fact, one of the influences of David Bowie that a lot of people don't pick up on, but if you listen to, like, I was geeking out on the sort of pre-Space Oddity stuff, and we played The Laughing Gnome, which is sort of the most
hang on,
the most corny example.
We're gonna play a segment from The Laughing Gnome again. Here we go.
I'm a laughing gnome and you can't catch me.
And we're back.
Yeah.
There you go.
You just signed yourself up for a lot of editing work on this.
But
yes,
I will pick those segments for you.
All right.
But one of David Bowie's biggest early influences was a guy called Anthony Newley, who was an English music hall star.
Okay.
Who, I mean, I don't even know that much about Anthony Newley. I remember my parents had
That's
an
okay.
album.
I think no one else does.
Yeah, exactly. My parents had an album of his.
Anthony Newley touched me in a bad place when I was a child.
Raymond
Actually,
Newley.
no, I take it back. My parents had two albums of his. One was called "Stop the World, I Want to Get Off," which is probably more famous, and the other one had the better title, which was "The Roar of the Grease Paint, the Smell of the Crowd."
Right. Okay.
Nice.
But he was an English music hall guy, and there's like a dark undercurrent to it. It's that sort of like British, like deadpan sort of black comedy. Aesthetic that we don't have.
That's all I gotta say, right? I'm trying to get you through that sentence,
we don't. I know. I'm sorry. I sort of ran out of steam there. But but we don't really have
My job
that.
is to keep the show moving. That's the only job I have.
You know, America is sort of we're like the woohoo, like optimist country, and we don't have England and Germany have that sort of even in their like pop culture. It's like it can get dark in ways that American pop culture doesn't. Yeah. The one that best illustrates this to me was he had a song called "We Are Hungry Men."
Okay. Hang on, I'm just queuing that up.
There you go.
Right now.
You can Google it.
I formed my own society to crush the power of fecundity. The world will overpopulate unless you claim infertility.
And we're back.
How does that?
And we are hungry men.
But he was trying to be a pop star, and that song has a lyric in it. I've prepared a document legalizing mass abortion. We shall turn a blind eye to infanticide.
Tough sell.
Yeah.
Tough sell.
And it's 67, 68 would that have been?
Yeah, and it's a satire of fascism.
Yeah. Right.
But it's like a super like I don't know. It's like a novelty song satire of fascism. Like I fucking love it.
And it's dark in a way that America kind of isn't allowed to be.
Exactly.
We don't tell the 70s and
no,
late 60s, early 70s.
If an American artist did that, people would take it literally and lose their shit.
Oh yeah.
Like we don't have as much as hipsters tried to give us a sense of irony. We don't have a sense of irony the way
those are New York
does.
values.
You can't live in New York without irony. All right, we're gonna have to wrap this segment up.
I got
soon.
a couple.
Yeah,
We'll wrap
Shaw.
it up in a second.
All right, we have three agenda items. 1 is Shaw. 2 is let's talk about Black Star, and 3 favorite Bowie song with Shaw. Go.
Okay. It occurred to me because I know. Wasn't a huge Bowie fan. Wasn't an anti. Like it was all stuff I meant to get to.
It was the background noise.
Who do we? Hate to bring it dark, but who's gonna die in the next 5 years that we want to okay, you should have gotten onto, you know what I mean? Like now, and Eric, you were talking
Leonard
about the
Cohen.
same thing. You're going back and catching
Tom
up.
Waits. Tom Waits, Leonard Cohen.
Tom Waits.
Leonard Cohen, Tom
No,
Waits.
Andy,
Pixies.
what's your opinion on this?
Pixies. See, I don't know any
Paul
Pixies.
Simon.
Ooh.
Okay.
God damn.
Paul
See, I know someone who said I read a quote saying Paul Simon is probably the greatest American songwriter.
People,
in
I
his way
mean,
of our era.
I would put if you American songwriters still living, clearly no. I would say it goes Bob Dylan then Paul Simon.
I think Dylan's the next to die.
He might be.
I think
But-
Dylan's going to live another 10 years.
But what I was about to say was
I don't know
that
why I say that. Go-
I sort
Andy,
of feel
go
like
ahead.
I feel like Paul Simon is weirdly underrated in the way Bowie was weirdly underrated.
Kind of, yeah.
Which I
Okay.
think is why people are going to lose their minds when he dies. I think a little bit of the freak out over Bowie dying is a little bit of like, oh yeah, we loved Bowie. No, really, we did.
I wish I
sort of
had
feel like
heard his stuff.
I feel like people hadn't been paying attention to him, kind
Right.
of.
All right, so Black Star. Who's listened to Black Star in this room, and what's your thought? Therm has.
I've gotten through.
I have not.
I haven't gotten end to end on it. I'm still.
I've listened to the
Still
whole thing.
processing.
I've listened to a couple of things only in the car.
Yeah.
Which
Which is a perfectly fine place to audition music.
it is.
I'm still digesting the Black Star single.
On the day of execution, on the day of execution, only women kneel and smile.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like I'm taking my time with this record
What's the
because I
single?
know that this is the end of the single, the 10-minute
title track,
the
yeah.
title track.
Which, I mean,
that's a meal. That's a fucking meal, dude.
And in my opinion, that's the best thing on the album. The whole album's great,
Yeah.
but the title track is amazing.
I mean, you can make the argument with a totally straight face that may be one of the best songs he ever wrote.
Yeah, I think so.
Like that's, and again, that's to do a callback on the point I made before. Part of why the Bowie death is such a huge visceral loss, aside from the fact that like every weirdo personally identifies with him, it's that like. On the way out, he was still writing his best fucking shit, and you listen to that, and it's light years past what like a Radiohead would do, or anybody else.
Yeah.
Here's a crazy fun fact.
Okay.
Black Star, in the U.S., Bowie's first #1 album.
Holy shit!
Really?
Wow.
Really? Yeah.
Wow.
Let's Dance never
No.
made it to #1.
Oh man.
No.
Out for a single or
For an album.
for an album.
It's I would have thought that it was Let's Dance, but Let's Dance never made it higher than #4.
Really?
Okay.
The closest he came to #1 before was Station to Station.
Oddly.
Wow.
Came to #2.
Really?
I think. Yeah.
All right, because this is not comedy and nobody is laughing.
this is
Yeah,
Stop
this
being
is like the least funny segment we've ever
all
done.
right.
Our audience is
by the way,
fine with that.
Spork has checked
pretty
out.
sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm fine. I'm over here. I'm just laughing and laughing.
Sport doesn't listen to music.
She's reading funny. She's been reading
Laughing
funny
and
jokes on her
clapping.
phone this whole time.
And by the way, right now you
lot
should
of
all go
Jarrett's.
check out the David Bowie episode of Flight of the Conchords because it's amazing.
It is amazing.
Bowie's in Space. Hang on, let's play Bowie's in Space for a second, which is the best tribute David Bowie ever.
Lives in space. Bellies in space. What you doing out there, Mom?
And we're back.
And we're back. I think my singing of it was probably better.
Oh my God, we have the game
right.
to play yet.
Yeah, we still got a whole other
excited.
segment of this
Look at the
fucking
game.
show.
Everyone's
to do.
gonna. I know this has gone on way too long, but everyone's gonna go around and tell their favorite David Bowie songs, starting with Matt. Do you have a Bowie song?
Man, I
What's your
hate to
favorite?
say it. I mean, the first one that got into my head was off the Labyrinth soundtrack, which was written. Was that written? That wasn't written by him. That was probably written by somebody else. But it was the. That was one of those songs on there. That was like where he got into my. And I knew. done his you know.
You're not testing
very-
Shaw here.
What's-
Was
what's
it
the
was it
song?
Underground?
No, he went with
Daddy,
Labyrinth
Daddy, get me
soundtrack.
out of here. Want to go
Yes.
underground? Yeah.
Yes, I think it was Underground.
Yeah. I think he co-wrote that.
No one can blame you for walking away.
I believe that's right.
And we're back.
We're back. Andy, do you have a favorite Bowie? As music editor of the Los Angeles Weekly Magazine, one of the largest independent publications, could you possibly have a favorite Bowie song?
As music editor of the Los Angeles Weekly, my favorite Bowie song is Queen Bitch.
Yeah, that's your one.
Well, why do you say that?
What
'Cause
about
it's a
his
great
Andy
song.
Hermann?
So, first of all, I just love the guitar sound on that track. I love the Mick Ronson guitar. I love that it was written as an homage to Velvet Underground. I love that one of the 2 Bowie concerts I've ever been to was his Sound and Vision tour, which I actually got to see in London.
Fuck you.
His guitar player on the tour was Robert Fripp.
There you go.
Hang on. Fuck you.
But anyway, so that when they did Queen Bitch, Bowie stopped Fripp like midway through that guitar riff at the beginning of the song. It was like too slow and made them start it over
shit.
again.
Yeah, that's probably
my
went
favorite
right
live
up
David
fucking
Bowie
Bob's
ever.
ass, dude.
Yeah. So that's why I love that song.
Awesome. And we're going to play it right now.
Oh yeah. I'm up on the 11th floor and I'm watching the cruisers below.
And we're back.
Yeah.
You're drunk.
Buck.
Yes.
You're drunk, Shaft.
Tough
Go
one.
home.
The reflex is 5 years off of the reflexive answer to that question is probably 5 years off of Ziggy Stardust.
Okay.
But that's a fucking tough one because I can make it's either that or I mean it's almost anything off that fucking record. And it's a little on the nose. I know to go for
It's
one
okay
off
to be
of
on the
Ziggy
nose.
off of Ziggy Stardust. I realize it's
5
probably
years?
usually-
That was number
Yeah.
9.
5 years.
Yeah, I think there's probably I'm gonna kick myself on the whole ride home for that, but that's like the reflexive, 4 cocktails in answer, and like that I like when everybody's doing their processing Bowie diet on Facebook. That's I put the 5 years from the old gray whistle test, which is bitchin', by the way. If you want to see a really great read.
All right.
I also,
What about
have,
you?
to, I also have to throw in here, though, real quick, like David Bowie at Santa Monica Civic Auditorium. There's like a live album of that.
I have that.
It's
Really?
amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Therm, what is your Mixmaster Therm?
My most listened to Bowie of like the past decade or so is the live version of Station to Station Off Stage. That's one specifically. Because it does the Bowie thing of like a mini suite, like 4 different song styles going through it.
Yeah.
As I posted on Facebook, it has the awesome line of, "It's not the side effects of cocaine. I'm thinking there must be love."
Yeah.
I think this is the drunkest I can remember Therm at one of our shows in a while.
Yeah.
Like you're turning that corner, dude.
That's how normal I'm speaking.
Therm's gonna wrestle a chick. Therm's like one cocktail away from wrestling a chick right now. Yeah.
And 2 away from wrestling a dude.
It's the cold.
Yeah. What's yours? What's your song?
What's your favorite,
fuck.
Eric?
Oh, fuck. It's Life on Mars.
Yeah.
It's Life on Mars.
Yeah.
That was
I didn't bond with that song until I saw the television show.
Right.
Which this takes us in a
fucking
different
guitar
route.
solo in
but,
that.
Oh my God, that's
God,
an
the guitar
amazing
solo
song.
And if you judge guitar solos by their emotionalities, the guitar solo is sad.
Jesus fucking Christ, that guitar solo.
The fucking
It's the run at the end. The dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun,
The
dun,
keyboard
fucking-
on that, the piano on that is Rick
Yeah.
Wakeman from Yes.
Yeah.
really.
Did the keyboard on that. Yeah.
I had no idea.
This is what our
Life
audience...
on Mars. I don't remember what the website was. Someone had an essay which is saying Bowie wrote anthems to the alienated, and there's no a more original anthem to the alienated like, in the source than Life on Mars, which is all about being on the outside of humanity looking in, and that is why I love Life on Mars. And every time I listen to it, it's like sailors fighting in a dance hall, and look at the lawman beating up the wrong guy. he never knows. And that's, to me, it's Bowie looking at all of humanity and saying, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
Why is this happening? Who are these people?
Well, that's 5
Bowie.
years. 5 years does that. You know, if you go
Yeah,
back
5 years does that too.
5 years does that.
It's
same
insane.
game. You know, it is very observational.
But if, to me, and it's purely emotional decision, like if I were to talk from the head and all the thing, like the entire Black Star album is amazing and that song is amazing. But on an emotional level, I'm an asshole. I am drunk.
On many levels, you're an
On many levels, I'm an asshole. But anyway, we're going to wrap
You're an
this up.
asshole at any time period.
Wrap this up before this gets more embarrassing. You're listening to the Army of Drunks. We're going to go smoke a cigarette. And thank you for putting up with all of this. But God bless your black hearts.
We'll be right back to
we're
wrap
going to
this
raise
up.
a grass to David Bowie.
To David
Bowie. Indeed.
And thank you. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is David Bowie. What do you think of when someone talks about the children of the poorest of the poor? Do you ever think of children from the inner city or American Indian reservations? Save the Children has been working hard for 50 years to improve the lives of American children too. Find out how they're helping your own and the world's children. Write to me, David Bowie, in care of Save the Children, Westport, Connecticut 06880.
Hello. Hey guys,
what?
we're back.
We are here with Andy Hermann, music editor for the Los Angeles Weekly, and we've been talking
What
about
up?
Bowie. Hey, how you doing, Andy? You drunk?
I'm pretty drunk.
Awesome.
Well, you know, I was on a no booze regimen for like 2.5 weeks before the show.
Oh, really?
And I've had 3 Ziggy Stardusts, and so I am a spider from Mars at this point.
Good.
Month's worth.
And Andy will be getting a ride home with Uber. Uber, the we're not rapists. That's the only tagline.
We promise we won't.
I hope not.
We should get a sponsor. I bet if I'm going to call Uber's marketing tomorrow.
See if they want that for their. We're less rapey
Or
than the other
Lyft.
one.
I bet Lyft would do it.
Yeah. The less rapey option.
That's rapey. I understand that Matt Shaw has something in his craw.
What's Shaw's craw? What's Shaw's craw? Shaw's got something in his craw. It's eating his way through his soul. And it's got to eat his way into you, but the anger is telling you. Yes!
My God, Matt, get it off your chest.
Shaw's fucking craw.
Matt?
It's I'm actually pretty good. It's I'm in good shape.
Really?
Yeah. About
It's not that bad.
it's not that bad. No, about
Yeah.
I don't know. Earlier this week, the Wi-Fi was
Bogged down a little bit.
Wi-Fi was down, and it came back. It's
So
it fixed itself. Or I fixed a couple things. I don't want to get into it, but I had to change a 2.4 to a 5
Did you
or
update
something like
update
that.
the
I
firmware?
can't remember megahertz.
yeah.
But
But you're cool.
You're
no,
cool?
we're all set now. Yeah, it's good.
Awesome.
Okay.
That's what's Shaw's craw. That's what's Shaw's craw. Shaw's actually pretty good. It's good with the Wi-Fi, but it's from sound to clean. Everything's kind of cleared up, and now everything's funky fucking dory. Shaw's fucking craw.
All right.
Hunky Dory, hunky fucking Dory. That was also part of the Bowie theme.
Call back in there.
Is that actually
Nice.
bringing it back? I don't want to bring us all back to the last segment, but
You're gonna do it anyway.
I'm going to do it anyway. Is Hunky Dory what we need to, like, if we've I don't own any Bowie albums.
That's a good record.
That's a good one.
Where do we need to start?
Start with Hunky Dory.
Hunky Dory's a good one to start with.
Here's if you're gonna start with 3, I would go get Ziggy Stardust, get Hunky Dory, and get Diamond Dogs.
Got it.
And then work your way out from there.
Okay.
It's sort of like the machete version of Bowie.
I would put Let's Dance in there.
Really? Yeah?
Even though it's like the cheesy pop album, Therm is like fist bumping me right now. But I would say maybe Hunky Dory, Ziggy Stardust, and Let's Dance, just because it's like you want to get that 80s Bowie in there.
Where do we rank Tin Machine? Never mind, we're moving on.
No Tin Machine, for the love of God.
We're not fans.
As you all know, we
right,
usually end with a little. Lately, we've been ending with a little game. And we've got a bell. Hit the bell. This game is called Bowie or Biscuit.
Yeah.
Buck, can you keep score? Because I can't.
Yeah.
It's right there. I know.
Here, I'm going to get a pen.
So I'm going to quote some lyrics for you. And they're either from David Bowie or Limp Bizkit.
All right.
I am not drunk. I'm not drunk enough for this. Can somebody get me another drink?
If you
Stat.
Therm.
It could be a beer. It could be anything, really.
And you can ring in the middle of while I'm reading them, all right? And let's cue the music and go. And these children that you spit on, and as they try... Who was that?
He got it before
Andy?
me.
All right. It's Bowie.
Yeah, it is.
Changes.
Changes. So that's one for Andy. All right, next.
I can't believe you went something that obvious.
And we're ramping up. Hey, I think about the day my girlie ran away with my pay. Therm.
I think I got that first. That's going to be some Limp Bizkit.
That's some Limp Bizkit. There we go.
Because it said girly in it.
That's Limp Bizkit from Nookie.
I knew it was not Bowie, so that's...
All right, moving on. That's one for Andy, one for Matt. All right, partner, keep on rolling, baby. You know, Therm.
Biscuit.
That's Biscuit. Yes, it is. We got ones all around. All right, moving on.
Fork's not in it yet.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Maybe if you put your hand in the ready position instead of sitting.
Okay,
Get it
that's
right there.
fine.
You put
I
your
got it.
hand spork. All right. Now she walks through her sunken dream, the seat with the clearest view, and she's Therm.
Biscuit.
You lose. That's Bowie. Life on Mars. Now she walks to the sunken
Life
dream.
on Mars, you retard.
What the hell? Were you raised in a fucking biscuit? All right, moving on. Strung out on lasers and slashback blazers. Who had? Vanessa.
Bowie.
Oh, that was Andy. Bowie, yes. Andy has two as music editor of the LA Weekly, of course. All right, moving on. Douchebag, I'm gonna fuck you up. Fuck you up. Third.
Biscuit.
Biscuit, that's right. Oh, it's a neck and neck race.
I had my hand.
All right. Moving on, here we go. And what am I bringing next? Just know it's red and Matt.
Thank you.
So Therm?
Biscuit.
Biscuit is right. Oh, Therm's pulling ahead with 3.
Hey, when I'm running
Or just swat at the bell before the question's over. It's a 50-50 shot.
Honestly, if I don't know it, it's not Bowie.
This is way better odds.
All right.
This
If
is
you get
way
it
better
wrong,
odds
by
than
the
the
way, it's
Powerball.
-1. That's a new rule. Something happened on the day he died. His spirit rose a meter and stepped aside. Therm.
That was Bowie on
That
Black
is
Star.
Bowie. Holy shit, Therm is rolling ahead. Here we go. Okay. All the way from Washington, her breadwinner begs off the bathroom floor. We lived Therm.
That was actually
Andy.
Biscuit.
Oh shit, that's Bowie.
Fuck! Oh no!
All the way
Can
from
we take a
Washington.
point away when they get a wrong answer?
Yes.
Yes, we have
okay,
to. I
so-
said we would. All the way from Washington, her breadwinner begs off the bathroom floor. We lived through these 20 years. Do we have to die for 50 more? Bowie, Young Americans.
Now see, if I had heard the second part of it, I would have known.
I know.
If you hadn't hit the bell so fucking quickly,
Therm, don't get cocky. All right, moving on. All bent out of shape because I piss on your gate. I need to get you out of my way. Oh, that was a tie. Who
I
did
think
that?
it's
that was my hand was on it.
You piece of shit,
That was
Therm.
Biscuit.
What is it?
Biscuit.
Yeah, it is biscuit.
It's good. No, but Bowie never said piss.
All right, true.
know.
All right. Should have left my pants on this time, but instead you have to leave me. Let me dive right in. Should have.
Biscuit.
Vanessa, that's biscuit. All right, here
That
we
was
go.
like the most timid swat.
I know. He scared Andy off because he got wrong because he mistook Bowie for biscuit. All right, here we go. Like some cat from Japan, you could look at him smiling.
Bowie.
Was that Therm?
That was me.
Therm got that.
That was
That's
Bowie.
Bowie. Ziggy Stardust. Like some cat from Japan, he could look at him writing. He could leave him hanging. You know Ziggy Stardust, you assholes. All right, here we go.
Way to go for the easy ones.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know how drunk we were gonna be. I could have gone deep. But
Go deep. I'll still get him.
All right. Which came as some surprise. I spoke into his eyes. I thought,
Fuck
Andy.
you.
Bowie.
Yeah.
Bowie.
Honestly, I didn't want to make this hard. It was more about humiliating you people. And as final, this is the last question. Therm's way ahead. But whoever gets this can steal it. If we're going to be damned, let's be damned for what we really are. Therm?
I'm going to go with Biscuit because that does not sound familiar.
Wrong. Actually, it's Jean-Luc Picard from Star Trek The Next Generation.
Oh, it's a trick question.
Trick question.
Nobody
Jean-Luc
wins.
Picard from Star Trek The Next Generation.
So our final
fair
score.
What episode?
I don't know. Season 1, though. Season 1.
Season 1.
Oh, fuck season 1 and 2.
No, Roddenberry was still at the helm. It counts.
I was really hoping, Shaft, that you would have found like the one intersection of Bowie and Biscuit.
I was
That would have
hoping
trick
too, but
question.
there- I gotta
There
say-
has to be some Bowie lyric where he says break stuff.
All right. I'll give you,
You got
one more.
me. You stumped
One more.
me.
Whoever gets
Matt
this
Shaw.
takes it all. Time bends, space is boundless. It squashes a man's ego. I feel lonely. That's about it. Yeah?
Bowie.
Well, close enough. It's Planet of the Apes.
I think
that was.
I think Therm still won.
Yeah,
I think
Therm, so here's the final score. Therm 4, Matt 1, Spork 1, Andy 2.
High five.
This is
Therm.
all falling apart. And we
You know what,
apologize.
Therm? You know you've earned your stripes again. Ladies and gentlemen, does anyone have anything else to say? You've been listening to the Talking Funny podcast experience. This is the Army of Drunks, and we have been saluting David Bowie. Should we give a last toast to David
Last
Bowie?
toast to Dave.
I think we absolutely should.
Yes, absolutely.
We are but small
Cheers.
people in a small room toasting David Bowie. He is a much larger man than
We
us.
shall freak out in a Moon Age daydream.
And all the
Indeed.
children boogie.
And all the children boogie.
By the way, one of my favorite, the thing that I was going to say is, it's a mutation. It's a very groovy mutation. I've got news for you, Amy. You're a mutant. X-Men First Class. It's a very groovy mutation, ladies and gentlemen. Anyone else? Anything anyone? Andy Hermann of the LA Weekly. Thank you very
anything
much.
you want to plug?
Thank you for having me. This was awesome.
You got anything you want to plug?
We're gonna hit you on the LA Weekly.
I'm sure we're gonna have more like fucking David Bowie coverage of some kind or another. And
All right.
So you can read Andy's stuff in the LA Weekly.
Yep.
Matt, do you have anything to plug?
I got nothing to plug other than
Your residency at the Charter Hole's done.
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Vanessa,
Come on,
do you have
swing
anything
on by.
All right, Vanessa?
No, just my ass.
All right, I'll plug your ass.
Yeah.
Buck, how's the Gentleman Callers?
Gentlemen Callers are fine. We, if you're in LA, we're going to start doing the trapeze. Burlector Swing is now going to be a monthly. We're going to have those alternating between downtown at the Syrup Loft and on the west side every other month at Purple 33. I think we're doing one on February 19th. You can look that up. And other than that, I have a busted tailbone.
Yeah, you broke your ass.
I literally broke my ass.
You broke your ass sledding with your kid.
Yeah, Brokeback Mountain. There is now the official.
High five soon when you get home.
Yeah.
I will plug, by the way, the Invader Zim issues 1 through 5.
You
comic
absolutely should.
Anthology is coming out shortly, so if you didn't buy the individual issues because you're afraid to go to a comic store, you can buy this on Amazon and at Walmart.
You
Oh, they're doing an anthology?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do get residuals. Thank you, Kevin Tiny Audience. This is the first residuals. This will be the first residuals I've gotten in my life off of Invader Zim because I work in animation and nobody pays us residuals. We are the slaves of Nickelodeon. Ladies and gentlemen, we've degenerated into word salad. So
Pretty
this
much.
has been the Army of Drunks Talking Funny-O Radio podcast-o. So, and we like to say, from Hell's Heart,
We stab at thee.
Woo! And we broke a glass.
This has been another Army of Drunks Talking Funny podcast experience. All the music we played and or talked about is available for sale. We have links on our website, so go there and don't sue us. It's armyofdrunks.net. Drop us a line at drunkmail@armyofdrunks.net or look for us on Facebook. Just do the search thing. You know how to do that. Copyright 2016, Army of Drunks.